This is Fantastic Force, issue 334. It is the first issue written by Simon Walterson, which also makes it the first issue in my personal favourite run on the book. Simon Walterson, he writes the book for about 20 issues, which is sadly not as many as he should have. And after this first story arc, he also pencils most of it as well. This cover though, this is by him, and this picture here of the team, that is the Fantastic Force to me. If you asked me to picture the Fantastic Force, this here, this picture, this is what I see in my head. This exact image. This is also an Acts of Vegans crossover tie-in, and it's all this wider crossover, and rather than criticise it or mock it for a full issue like some other tie-ins do, Simon Walterson, he has recognised that while it is flawed, it's also a chance for a whole load of fun. The interior art is by Rich Fulcher, who we only recently saw in that Death Clock comic, and the thing about Rich Fulcher is that he's a very capable artist, and he has done some great stuff, and he had a lot of top qualities as an artist, but he also, particularly in this time period, he was doing a lot of swiping. He was tracing or copying other artists' work and somehow getting away with it. He did a similar thing early in his career. He used to deliberately do it with Jack Quimby stuff. But around about this time, he was blatantly swiping a lot of stuff from John and Sal Buscema. If you can look past that, you probably won't have much of a problem with his art. One enormous change for Simon Walterson's run was that the Thing, he was a human, he had been cured, and technically taking his place on the team was Miss McDonald's. She had been transformed into a form like the Thing, but really, the book, for the first time, it became like a 5-person team, because, as you'll see later in this first story arc, the Thing, he also starts wearing a mech suit. Our main story here, though, is that, well, it's Acts of Vegans, so now loads and loads of, the Invisible Wife looks gorgeous there. Loads of unexpected baddies, they're deciding to attack the Fantastic Force. And Mr. Fantasticals, he has just finished setting up a new security defence network for their headquarters. And now, that new defence system, it keeps foiling all these would-be attackers. Our first one here is Constrictor Man, and I do think this is a cute little idea, that these baddies, they can't even get through the front doors, but at the same time, as a comic book fan, I would love to see like Mr. Fantasticals or the Invisible Wife fight against Constrictor Man. The idea with Acts of Vegans was that the baddies, they would all attack heroes who didn't really know who they were or their weaknesses. And then we kind of have a massive contradiction here, because we have got Mark, real name Abe, from the Thunderballs. He has actually fought the Fantastic Force before. His first appearance, it was fighting against the Human Fire and the Thing. But the real enemy on this page is Mr. Fantasticals, who is using his powers to transform his body to give his son some horrific nightmare fuel. Once again though, the building, it manages to stop the baddie, it stops Mark, real name Abe, and then straight after him we have got another Thunderballs character actually. This is Spider-Man's classic enemy, Shockster. Different worry though, this whole 3-part story, it isn't just the Fantastic Force sitting around while their house takes care of all the baddies, because there's a lot more of a thoughtful and intellectual plot going on. The team, they are going into Congress to discuss a Superhero Registration Act 15 years before Civil Wars. So they're going into Washington, and we've got some blatant Buscema tracing there. And then a little sequence with Captain America and Thor. They have come to the Fantastic Force, hoping that they'll let them use their building as a temporary headquarters, since Avengers House was destroyed. But even the Avengers, they can't get past the defense systems. There's also maybe a little bit of a behind the scenes commentary thing going on here, because Simon Walterson, before this, he was writing the Avengers with these two characters on the team, Thor and Captain America. He also had on that team Mr. Fantasticals and the Invisible Wife, but then he quickly got fired off the book and he wound up writing Fantastic Force instead, which actually builds on one of his Avengers plot lines. So this sequence here, it might be like him trying to say something. I don't know what, but regardless, it's a nice bit of interconnectivity between these Axel Vegans books. Then we see a bunch of incognito villains all heading to Washington to attack the Fantastic Force during the era. And what could possibly go wrong? This is just a fun story, and it's got this image. I rate it 7 thumbs up.